Hello, my dear students. Very good morning to all of you. Now, today I am going to teach you about the igneous rocks. Myself, Dr. Lakshmikant Tripathi, Assistant Professor, Department of Soil Science and Agricultural Chemistry, Tithankar Mahavir College of Agriculture Science, Tithankar Mahavir University, Muradabad, Uttar Pradesh. So today we will teach you about the different types of igneous rocks because previous lecture I was discuss about the introduction about the rocks and their classifications. So in all these things I have covered in the previous lectures. So today I will teach you about the different igneous rocks. So first go during this lecture, I will try to cover about the igneous rocks. One thing. Second is the properties of the igneous rocks, and third one is the classification of igneous rocks, and fourth one is some example with their characteristics of igneous rocks because it is the most important things. So during this lecture, I will try to cover all these points which is given in here. So I have covered during this. I will cover. I will now come to the igneous rocks. So if you are remind the things in the previous lecture, I was taught you about the different types of means different igneous means about the igneous rocks and how the rocks are originated. So there is a two and if we are going to see the conclusion about the introduction portion of the igneous rocks, so the rocks is generally it is means releasing from the ground. So there is a two way. One is the in situ and second is the ex situ. So in case of here you can see this picture. So that is known as the ex situ igneous rocks. And what is the meaning of ex situ and in situ? Ex situ means the material after the volcano eruption, the material is comes out from the surface. So that is known as the ex situ, and the material which is found within the earth, within the, so that is known as the ex situ. Sorry, that is known as in situ. This is the in situ, in situ, and this is the ex situ. Okay, so there is a means two ways. So here the igneous rock is just developed after the volcano eruptions. Means whenever the volcano eruption is happened, then there is a lots of material is extracted from the surface of this means earth, that is known as the molten magma, and after the cooling and crystallization of the molten magma, the first rocks is developed, that is known as the igneous. And if you are going to see the word of igneous, so it is derived from the two words. First is the ignis. Ignis means fire, and ignis means fire. It means these types of rocks is generally developed after the volcano eruption. And then what happened after the volcano eruption? Then there is some material is collected, that is known as molten magma, and that molten magma is cooling and crystallizations. And after that, but what happened? Actually, the temperature of the molten magma is about the more than 2000 degrees Celsius. So that is the huge temperature of the igneous means molten magma. So just cooling and crystallization of that magma. But what happens? There is some amount of the heat is also present in the igneous rock, so that is why it is named in the igneous, means it is a hot rock, but in comparison to sedimentary and metamorphic, it is the means less, it is the more means heat, so that is why it is known as the igneous rocks. I'm now come to the topic. Main igneous rocks are fire born, means it is developed by the earth, meaning that they are formed by the cooling and solidification of molten melted rocks. It means molten material that is known as the magma. Here you can see these are the means Xc2. It means after volcano eruption the material is comes out above the surface, so that is known as the Xc2, and after that it is cooling and crystallize and then form the igneous rocks. Then form the igneous rocks. So this is about the. Now come to the word igneous is derived from. I have already told you that igneous. The word igneous rock is derived from the word ignis, from the Latin word ignis, which is means fire. It means in here the temperature is also found is very high. Either you can say it is very hard types of minerals, hard types of rocks in comparison to the sedimentary and metamorphic rocks. So that is why it is known as the igneous rocks. And then what happens? The molten rocks material is known as the magma until it is erupted onto the surface when it is termed as the lava. Oh, actually, I have shown in the first slide that was some material is erupted and it is comes above the surface. So that is known as the Xc2 material, and after the cooling and crystallization of that material is known as the magma. Yeah, either you can say the lava. So after cooling and crystallization of that material, then now here one thing you, because I am using the words again and again, cooling. It means because when the volcano eruption is happened, so that is having the temperature is more than 2000 degrees Celsius. Then what happened? This temperature is slowly cool down, and then after the cooling of the temperature, but there is a same amount of the temperature is also present in this. So that is why मतलब जब देखते होंगे आप कि बहुत ज़्यादा मात्रा में उसका टेम्परेचर रहता है जो मोल्टेन मैग्मा या मटेरियल होता है वोल्केनिक एरप्शन के बाद में, लेकिन क्या होता है उसके कूल होने के मीन्स ठंड होने के बावजूद भी उसका टेम्परेचर सेडिमेंट्री मेटामॉर्फिक की तुलना में बहुत अधिक रहता है. सो वाई दैट इज वाई इट इज नोन एज द igneous rocks. Okay, and the igneous rocks are formed by the cooling and crystallization of the molten material that is known as magma. Up here you can see there is a two words beneath the surface of the earth are called igneous rock. It means it is comes above the surface, and some material is also found within the surface. So that material is known as the in situ material. So there is a two types of material found. And now come to the property of the igneous rocks. So generally, if you are going to see the property of the igneous rock, so there is some important. These rocks are known as the layerless rocks because it is developed after the volcano eruption and the cooling and crystallization of the material. So that is why means it is very recently developed rocks. So that is why what happened, the layer is not developed. So that's why it is known as the layerless rocks. Yeah, either it is known as the stratum-less rocks. This is the most important questions. It may comes in any types of examination. So what is the means? Which rocks is known as the stratum rocks? Stratum is layer. Means in this rocks the layer is not developed because it is recently developed rocks after the volcano eruption. So that is why the layer is not found in this rock. Second is the point of the properties is it is the oldest rocks and generated from the sedimentary and metamorphic rocks. So that it is called as a primary rocks. Up here, this is the, if you are remembering that I was taught during the rock cycle. So generally what happened, this rocks is developed after the volcanic. So that is why it is known as the primary rocks. One thing. Second is it is also developed in the sedimentary and metamorphic rocks. So that is why it is also called as the primary rocks. because it is the first rocks after the volcano eruption. It is the first rocks is developed, so that is why it is called as a primary rocks. And my dear students, you always remember things that is this types of question is asked in any examination. What is the means, which one is the primary rocks? So you always remember igneous rocks is the primary rocks. And third point is it is found in the big amount, means huge amount. So that is why it is called the massive rocks. It is called massive. Massive means big amount. So this is and next is that these rocks is formed by the molten magma. So it is called also magmatic rocks because this is developed by the molten magma. So it is known as the magmatic rocks and very hard rocks, but weathers very soon. Means the nature of these types of rocks is very hard in nature, but it is very easily weather after the means rainfall or any physical and chemical weathering comes on this surface of these types of rocks in the air. So it is very easily and very rapidly better and more calcium and sesquic oxide minerals is more dominated in this rock. And here you can see the temperature of this rock is about 800 to 1400 degrees Celsius temperature. And now you assume that if the temperature of the igneous rocks this, so what is the temperature of the molten magma? It is about more than 2000 degree and maybe more of the temperature of the molten magma. So that is why it means that magma is cooling and crystallization and then comes about this temperature, then it is solidify and then develop the igneous rock. But here it is very huge, means very high temperature of the igneous rock, and it is contain about 40 to 50% silica and 3.1% potassium. So these questions I have seen so many examinations, how much the silica content in the igneous rock and how much the potassium content in the igneous rock. So you always remember that the about 40 to 50% silica and 3.1% potassium is present in the igneous rocks. I am now come to the classification of igneous rocks. Actually, on the basis of the silica content and origin of the igneous rocks are classified into two groups. Into two groups. On the basis of first, on the basis of silica content, these types of rocks is divided into three categories. One is the acidic igneous rocks, second is the intermediate igneous rocks, and third one is the basic igneous rocks. Here you can see what is the meaning of means actually the amount of silica which is present. So on the basis of that, this igneous rocks is classified. So here you can see about 65 to 75% silica content is present in this acidic igneous rocks, and the example of some granite, rhyolite, picked stone, etc. These are the some example of the acidic igneous rocks. And now come to the basic igneous. So it is contain about 45 to 55% silica, and example of the basic igneous rocks, gabbro and basalt. And then again intermediate igneous rocks is again contain about it is 55 to 65% silica, and this is divided into two categories. One is the sub-acidic igneous rock and sub-basic igneous rock. And in case of sub-acidic igneous rock, it is contain about 60 to 70 percentage of the silica. An example is cyanide, trachyte, etc. And some basic igneous rock, it is contain about 55 to 60% silica. Some acidic igneous rocks is contain about 60 to 55 percentage of 55 to 60% of the silica, and the example of picked stone is the example of some basic igneous rocks. So this is on the basis of igneous silica content. This is divided into three categories. Now come to the on the basis of origin, the igneous rocks is divided into means two categories, and it is not intrusive, either plutonic rocks and extrusive. Sometimes it is also known as volcanic rocks, and sometimes it is known as the effusive effusive rocks. So this is the basic rule. What is the meaning of intrusive? That is, I am saying intrusive. Here, if you are seeing the word of intrusive, in means in. Means, for example, if you are enter the class and the teacher is present before you, so you are asking, sir, may I come in, sir? It means, can I come? Yeah. So in means the material during the volcano eruption, the material is present within the earth surface, within the earth. So that is known as intrusive, either plutonic rock. And extrusive, some materials are comes above the surface, so that is known as the extrusive rocks. That is known as the extrusive. And what is the properties of these intrusive and extrusive? So intrusive rocks are formed from the magma that is cool and solidify here you can say, within the earth crust of the planet. It means these types of material after the volcano, the magma is solidified within the earth crust. It means it is not come above the earth surface. And second point, it is slowly cooled inside the earth crust because it is present within the, so the sunlight and means open effect of the natural is not comes on that. So that is why it is taking a time to cool down. So that is why it is slowly cool down and then crystallize. For example, and the large crystal is found, for example, granite, diorite, gabbro, etc. And in here, exclusive, these types of rocks comes above the up surface, surface of the earth from the lava, which is magma, means it is come above the earth surface. And that is why here now the open environment is found by this rock. So that is why it is very, means this is cooled rapidly at the, because in the night time it is means so temperature is less, in the daytime temperature is high, but it is the open environment here and everything comes on the surface, so that is why it is very rapidly cooled at the surface, and small crystal is found in this rock. For example, basalt, dacite, andesite, these are the some example of the igneous. Here you can understand better way what is the intrusive and what is the extrusive. Here you can see the rocks is, by this picture you can easily understand what is the intrusive. So here you can see the rocks is cool and solidified within the earth surface. This one is the magma, okay, and this magma is erupted during the volcano eruption and comes slowly above the surface. Here you also and here also. So above the surface means the material is comes above the surface. So that is known as the extrusive rock. And some magma is not comes above the surface. It is cooled slowly in the within the earth surface. So that is known as the intrusive igneous rock magma, and this one is known as extrusive. So here what is the basic difference between the intrusive and extrusive igneous rocks? So intrusive rocks inside the earth, intrusive and rocks extrusive outside the earth. Here you can see this is the outside and this one is the inside the earth. And it is also known as, yes, plutonic, this is known as volcanic, and formed from the magma formed by the lava, and usually dark in color, inclusive because it comes above the surface, sorry, within the surface, so that is why its color is very dark in nature means it is very light in color because it is comes above the surface and with the effect of the temperature, sun rays. So that is why the light is deteriorate. So that is why it is light in color, and this one is the dark in color, and it is very dense in nature. It is low density. And then means mostly in the intrusive rocks, the magnesium and iron is more dominated, and is in this intrusive, extrusive feldspar, aluminum is more dominated. So that is why the magnesium and iron is dominated in the intrusive rock. So that is why it is cooled in slowly, and this is cooled in very rapidly, quickly, large grains, and in here very small grains. So this is the basic difference between the intrusive and extrusive rocks. And now come to the here. I want to show some picture of the different igneous rocks and with their properties also. Here you can see basalt, and because I am taking some example of basalt. So what is the nature and what is the property of the basalt, and how you can easily recognize, identify the basalt. So here you can see both picture of the basalt and what is the basic properties of the basalt igneous rock. So it is volcano types of. It means it is extrusive rocks. Here it is extrusive rocks. It means it is cooled and solidified above the surface, not within the surface, and dark in color, grade and texture. It is amphiletic in means can be porphyritic in nature. Here you can see, and the mineral content in this rocks, ground mass generally for the pyrogen types of minerals, and silica content is about, this is 45 to 52% silica is contained, and uses of this. So generally aggregate fill etc. Its construction, and it is in means such types of rocks is used to construction of building, roads, industries. In different way we can use the means basalt rock. So this is the basalt rocks, and basalt rocks is the igneous rocks. And under the igneous, if you are going to see the classification of acidic, so it is basic in nature. And next is the graphite. Here you can see it is also plutonic. It means it is intrusive in rocks, dark colored amphibaric and silicate is about same amount of the silicate is also present in the graphite, and it is also used in construction of the road, buildings, and etc. So different way you can. Here you can see, if you are seeing such types of stone in your local area, then you can easily identify this is the granite mineral, granite rocks, granite, basalt and granite. And this is the reference where I have collected all these materials. Thank you.